I'm going to record it to the cloud. All right, guys. Thank you so much to Pat for joining us today and teaching us a little bit about Qigong. We're very fortunate to have her because she's not only, a master at Qigong, but she also is a certified life coach who knows a whole lot about grief. And those of us that were together on Sunday actually talked about grief, that a lot of people are grieving just their lives, the stuff that they thought they were going to do, the vacation they thought, the spring break, the Easter, all the stuff. So I think we're doubly blessed to have Pat with us to teach us some things. And if there's something about grief, we all experience grief. And Pat knows all about it. So Pat, I'm going to let you tell a little bit more about yourself and get us started.
Okay. Well, welcome. It's nice to be here. I appreciate being invited in. I love to share Qigong and I love to, I view myself as a morning's light, the MOURNINGS, morning's light, because I do work with people who are grieving, especially grieving moms, because I was born to a mom who was grieving the death of a child. So it had a significant impact on me over the years. And ever since I was a little girl, I was just drawn to listen and be with people who are grieving, whether it was my friends, family members. And so I became a nurse. I'm a registered nurse by background and held the hands of many people who were in the stages of dying and also their families. I held them in my arms. So, about 2012, I decided to become a life coach. I was an executive in corporate industry as a nurse. And when I opened up my coaching business, hung my shingle on the door, so to speak, my first two clients were grieving moms. And so I thought, okay, something is steering me into this direction that I need to be there. So that's what I do, is I work with people, families who are grieving. And my goal in life is to help heal family grief. And when you talked about, Tanya, the grieving, it's interesting. I just was interviewed I donate some time at a Children's Grief Connection. So it's kids who someone has died who's very close to them. And so it's for them and their families. And we couldn't have camp the first weekend in April, last weekend. We have a camp twice a year and we all look forward to it. And so my talk was about disappointment and grief. And so it sounds like you all were talking about that, when you connected, Sunday or whatever, that does lead to grief, the disappointment of so many different things. I think about the kids who are in high school, whose proms, these real milestones, proms. And I have a friend of mine where her daughter is slated to get married and has been planning this beautiful wedding for June. And she has to make a decision by the end of this month whether that wedding goes on. So, I mean, all those things cause a lot of grief. So and they're not any less of a feeling for us than if someone died in our life. The other thing that I've noticed is all the people reaching out to me, because being isolated makes our grief more in our face, because we're in our thoughts all the time. So that's why Spring Forest Qigong is I'm a teacher of Spring Forest Qigong. I actually worked for the Grand Master himself for a couple of years. And so I'm a teacher and healer with Spring Forest Qigong. And Qigong is about 6,000 to probably 7,000 years old. It's ancient Chinese medicine. And it actually was developed to be a way for people to heal their physical bodies. And then over time, they realized that our emotions play such a big part of that. And as a nurse, I know, from the time that I was even a little girl, I know that emotions can make us sick if we're in it too long. And so Qigong is very beautiful. And Master Lin, who is my teacher, created a program that's the 5 elements for healing. And so we bring in emotions, to positive emotions, to kind of counteract the negative emotions that can come when we're under stress and strain. So it's figured out that about 80% of our illnesses have to do with emotions, emotional stuff. Probably doesn't surprise any of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing some heads shaking. Yeah, it doesn't surprise us. So, so Qigong, the Qi, the QI in Qigong stands for energy, and Gong stands for working with or cultivating. So very basically, it is just a way to work with our own energy. And if you think about energy, we are all energy. We're all energy beings. The table I'm knocking right now is energy. The computer is energy. Everything around us is energy. And Einstein, brilliant man that he was, actually was able to study this, and he taught us that we cannot create energy. We can't just go out there and go, okay, I'm going to create this energy. We can't destroy it. We can't take a jackhammer and get rid of it, but we can transform it. And so my logo for my business, and something that's been with me since I've been a little girl, is the butterfly. And that is the greatest example to me of transformation. This caterpillar goes and wraps itself in its cocoon, right? And it wraps itself in all this silk. And then it goes deep inside. And when it's deep inside, it's doing the metamorphosing. It's like turning into jellied mush. Kind of gross. But then all of a sudden, these little appendages and little legs start coming out, and the cells start coming together with a natural wisdom and knowledge of how it comes together. And then as it starts to formulate and everything is put together, then it starts crawling out through the little crack of that cocoon. And if you've ever watched it, if you haven't, go on YouTube, because it's just fascinating. But then these little legs are starting to drop this butterfly, and it's like struggling, it's painful. You can just see it. And then it finally gets up there, and its wings are all wrinkled and wet and just a mess. And then the air opens up those wings, and you have this beautiful creature. Started with a caterpillar, ended up to be this beautiful butterfly that now can float through the air. We can do that with our bodies. That's how we heal. So that's the energy. That's the cool thing about it. And as Master Lin says, and I teach people too, if you don't feel it, it's still working. If you feel it, it's working. It doesn't matter what really your belief is. It's just that if you're doing it, you are moving your energy. And when you put a positive thought to that, which we call message healing, and say, oh, I'd really like to heal my bursitis in my hip, and you start working these little movements, and you do these every day, you start healing the bursitis in your hip, because your body naturally has that wisdom. So that's kind of Qigong in a nutshell, and I want to share some of the movements because they're very, very simple, but I want to open it up, like any of you, before we do any movements, any questions or thoughts? Yay? Nay?
Nay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you to join me. I'm going to put my chair in and go back a little bit, so I have to readjust my screen so you can see me. Just want to make sure so that you can see my, can you see my whole body? Actually, I'm going to take out my earbuds. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to turn the volume up a little bit. I just want to make sure so that you can see my body, the bulk of my body. So the first thing we're going to do is just like loosen up your arms, and all I want you to do is stand, and I want you to bounce. Just bounce. Bounce from your feet, bounce from your knees, and so you're not even thinking about it. You're just bouncing at the knees like when you're a little kid, like bounce, 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 bounce. You know, we used to do all this stuff when we were young, and so just relax and bounce. Have your shoulders back and down so that they're relaxed. And we are just bouncing. And what we do is we breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth when we bounce. And we're actually detoxifying our body. And one thing we need during COVID-19 is to detoxify our body. So we're bouncing, just allow the knees to do the work. And now if you raise your hands above your head, if you can, if you have shoulder problems or any kind of arm problems, then don't, it's okay, but continue to bounce. And you're bouncing with your knees. So you're not wiggling your hands,
you're allowing the knees to just do it. The knees are the ones that's creating that bouncing action. And what we're doing is we're moving that energy, breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. This one is, if you can do this several times a day, is perfect for your immune system, for your lung energy. We talked about grief. Grief affects our lung energy system. We forget to breathe. That grief can get stuck in our lung energy, our breathing system, and then we can start having respiratory issues. And then we just bring our arms down and we just kind of move it back and forth. So anytime you can raise your hands above, keeping your fingers open, you can open up those lung energy systems. So it's very simple movements. And this is where we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. But now, what I'd like you to do is take your right hand and put it by your chest, about 6 inches out from the chest, so it's not real tight. And then take your left hand and put it down outside of your navel, your belly button. And what I'd like you to do is just take a minute, listen to my voice. See if you can close your eyes and breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. You're just breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in all the energy that's surrounding you in the universe. Breathing in the energy from God. Whoever is your highest power. We're breathing in that energy. And when we exhale through our nose, imagine that wherever you have a physical or emotional challenge, that it just turns into butterflies and they're just flying out from our body, going to the ends of the universe. So let's say you have a knee pain. You're breathing in this beautiful energy into your knee. And when you exhale through your nose, just imagine that all these butterflies are flying out from your knee and going to the ends of the universe. That's all energy is. It's not good or bad. It's just sometimes we have too much or sometimes we have too little. But when you're breathing, I just want to see if you can feel that breath coming in through your skin, exhaling out of your skin. Our skin is part of that respiratory breathing system. And again, if we're grieving because we're stuck inside the house or we have some other challenges that we're dealing with, breathing like this can help us to heal. And now one of the core movements is called moving of the yin and yang. Yin is our female energy. That's what the Chinese call our female energy. And yang is our male energy. And so we have both in our bodies. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our right hand and bring that out and down as we slowly bring the left hand up our body. So very slowly, we're just doing like this elliptical movement. Right hand up, out, and down as the left hand comes up, out, and down. We have two major energy channels. One runs up and down the length of our front torso, and one runs up and down the back of our torso, our back. The female and the male energies, the yin and the yang. So what we're doing is we are moving the yin and yang energy. The slower you go, the better it is, because we're really moving it. We're balancing all the energy in all of our organs. So in our heart, our lungs, our liver system, our stomach and spleen system, our kidney system, we are healing and moving all that energy just right now, just with this simple movement. Put the tongue at the roof of your mouth, because there's a channel, there's an energy button that's at the roof of our mouth that actually connects the front and back energy channels. And put a smile on your face. Smile, Master Lin coined the phrase, start my internal love engine. Because what happens when we smile? All the endorphins start kicking in, all those feel-good hormones just start flowing through all the cells in our body. And so if there's a particular area that you want to heal, put that message in there right now. If you have a bad hip, say, you know, I want to heal my hip completely. If you have sadness right now, just put the message in, I want to heal my sadness completely. So in this particular movement, it is really good for our liver energy system, and our liver is on duty right now in the springtime. That's our detoxifier. So we want our liver energy system working really, really good, especially during this time of this viral crisis. We want strong detoxifying in our body to keep our immunity system up. And in the liver energy system, the emotion that can create some blockage, the negative emotion, is anger. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. A lot of us are feeling anger at times throughout this time. We don't want to, but things are being canceled, or we can't see, you know, our family. So anger can come up. So what we want to do is just bring in the emotion of happiness. So while we're doing this simple movement, all we're doing is saying, I am so happy. I have the smile on my face. I can just feel the happiness flow through every cell as I'm breathing in and out through my nose. I am so happy, happy, happy. I have those little yellow smiley faces just like running through my veins. My organs are so happy. My liver is happy. My stomach is happy. My kidneys are happy. My lungs are happy. I am just so happy. My heart is so filled with happiness. Now you may think, I'm not feeling very happy, Pat. You could say that, but I'm not feeling it. And that's way okay. The message that we tell ourselves is what gets transmuted throughout our body. We are made of 70 to 80% water. And when we put messages into water, the science has shown us that when we put messages in, the water reacts to those messages. It's kind of like talking to our plants, right? We've all heard that if we talk to our plants, that they can grow and be beautiful. This is the same thing. We're just talking and leaving that message that I am happy. And that's all you have to do. Have a slight bend to your knees, keep your shoulders relaxed, and just move in the yin and yang. Just this simple movement will open up all your energy channel. And now I want to show you another one. So if we bring our hands, pretend like you're holding a volleyball in your hands, right around your waist. And when you breathe in through your nose, I want you to drop your knees a little bit and open your hands. And then when you exhale through your nose, just straighten up and bring the hands in. This is breathing of the universe. This actually balances the energy inside of us and also the energy that surrounds us. So in the room that you're in, if you're around people and you do this movement, you can actually help balance the energy for them. So all we're doing is breathing and doing breathing in through our nose, keeping that smile on your face. And then when we exhale, we breathe out through our nose, and then we just raise up. And the reason why we bend our knees a little bit, if you can, now if you have knee problems, you can just pretend that you're bending your knees, because again, we can tell ourselves whatever we're doing and our body will react to that. But why we do this pumping action is we're actually pumping the energy up and down our body, kind of like a bellows. Or I always think of like a bicycle pump that we used to pump up and down. That's what this is we're just pumping the energy up and down our body. Our bodies are so intelligent, so it knows where the energy needs to go. We don't have to say, oh, it needs to go here or there. Our body just knows exactly where the energy is needed. And this one, if you can use your elbows to guide your movement, that is great, because when we open up our elbows a little bit, you don't have to do it dramatically, but we're opening up the lung energy system in our elbows, in our heart energy system that's in our armpits. So it's amazing. We have all these energy points throughout our bodies. So these simple movements are just working on all of that. So this is a beautiful one. This is one where we bring joy in to help our heart energy system. Our heart energy system can get stuck or unbalanced through extreme emotions. The emotions of hate, or even extreme love where it's almost obsessive to where it makes us sick. Have you ever heard of being heartsick? That can happen. So if we bring in the emotion of joy, joy is happiness for no reason. So I like to describe it, if you've ever been around a child. My granddaughter's a year, and I live in a multi-generational home. So we have 4 generations spanning from a 1-year-old granddaughter to my almost 96-year-old mom. My granddaughter will sit in her height chair. So she's not really communicating. She can't say words. But last night, she just laughed, belly laughs, for no reason. She was just having the time of her life. And there was nothing that was creating her to be laughing like that. She just laughed belly laughs. And she enjoyed her laugh so much that then she even laughed even harder. That's joy, happiness for no reason. So when we do this movement, we can just say, I am just so filled with joy. I'm so filled with joy. And just tell ourselves that we are filled with joy. Every part of our body is filled with joy. That we can bring in the joy of the universe, because there's an endless supply of joy in the universe. And when we tell ourselves that message, that becomes a part of us. And then I'm just going to show one more movement, because it's just kind of a little taste of it. But let's bring our hands together in prayer position, and we're just lightly touching our fingertips and our palms together. In each hand, there are 6 energy points. So we have 1 for each finger and 1 in the palm of the hand. So when we put the 2 together, that's 12 energy points that we're activating. Several heart energies. We have a lung energy system. We have the stomach, the large intestine, the small intestine, the pancreas. There's all these points just within our hands. So lightly touching them together like you're holding maybe a sheet of paper very lightly. And keep that smile on your face. And now when we breathe in through your nose, we're going to slightly bend over. Not too far, not too fast. Just slightly bend over. And when we exhale through our nose, we're just going to bring ourselves back up. And the emotion that we want to bring to this exercise is gratitude. I am so thankful for, and then whatever it is that pops into your mind when you bend over. I am so grateful that we're all able to meet together like this. I am so grateful for the technology that allows us to stay connected throughout the world during this time of isolation. I am so grateful that I know these few little movements that can help me feel a little bit better every day. It brings me calm. The kidney energy system is our vitality and our life force. And when our kidneys are not working, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. So we want our kidney energy system to flow so beautifully. And this exercise, bringing in gratitude, is the opposite of fear. And fear is what can block our kidney energy. So think about the fear that has been coursing through everybody's veins over the last 3 weeks. We can counteract that just by saying, I am so grateful. I'm so thankful that I have beautiful food that can sit at my table. I'm grateful for those of us who are healthy. I'm so grateful that my 95-year-old mom stayed healthy through this crisis. I'm grateful for me that I can help people who are grieving. I'm grateful for my spiritual beliefs that help me have faith and hope. I'm grateful for Tanya that I got to meet her not too long ago and that we were able to connect in such a beautiful way. I'm grateful to meet all of you, beautiful ladies. Just a simple movement. Gratitude. Actually, there are studies that show how gratitude can bring more happiness and create happier lives for us. This is a beautiful one. When you wake up in the morning, do 10 of these. Just take a few breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Put that smile on your face, and then just whatever comes to you that you're happy for. It may be this cup of coffee that you have for this little coffee meeting. It may be for the sun that shines, or for the full moon that is around tonight. All those things, they can be just so simple. It can be, oh, that orange tasted so good today. Those are the things, just the little things to be grateful for. And now we will end that movement. And so when we're done with our Qigong, we need to harvest the energy, because you have just moved energy. I don't know if any of you felt any heat or you just, anything at all. Sometimes we get tingling in our fingers. But if you felt any, that's your energy moving. And if you didn't feel anything, way okay, it's still moving. But what we want to do is harvest the energy that we just moved throughout our body. So we're going to take our hands and we're going to rub them together and go in between the fingers. Remember, I talked about all the energy points there. And then take your hands, and if you just go up on either side of your nose and around your face, almost like in a heart-shaped pattern, because we have all those energy points on our face, and they all attach to an organ system and an organ. So, but just by doing this beautiful little facial massage, you're opening up all these energy points and balancing the energy. And then the last thing is if we just massage the outside of your ears all the way down and then tug on the earlobe a little bit when you get down there. Our ears are shaped like an embryo, and it's the same thing. All these energy points are attached to the outside of the ear. In acupuncture, if you know any of that, you'll see that they put needles like in your ears and things like that. That's because there's all these energy points. So what we're doing is we're massaging them. So when we do this, it's like giving ourselves a full body massage, because all the energy points attached to our whole body. And that is a very brief, this is Qigong.
That was awesome.
It was.
You feel good?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, with the recording, you can actually go, and if you want to do these movements, just turn on the recording when it gets sent out. Tanya sends it out, and then you can just follow along. If you do just a couple of these, movements every day, and usually, even for 5 minutes for each movement, you're balancing your energy. And honestly, even if you're watching TV or whatever you're doing, just going into these movements, I kind of do it naturally now. And I have to say that I haven't been really wigged out about the COVID-19. I've been able to keep myself pretty relaxed. And for me, that's a pretty big deal. We may be coaches, but we all have our emotions and all of that. So any questions?
Felt wonderful.
Did it? Good. That's the intention. That's the intention. Anybody else?
Yeah. It was so good, Pat. I loved it. I loved it the first time, and this was even better because I feel like I got a little bit more of you today. So this was so nice.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy doing it. So, yeah, just anytime. I think, Tanya, I can send you my contact information, but if you're ever interested, and I actually do a group like this that's virtual every Monday night at 7 o'clock Central Time. And so if you're interested in that, just send me I think, do you have my email address? Maybe you can give them my email address and then you can just let me know and I can send you the link that's similar to this, because I've been doing this on a virtual basis. So every Monday night at 7, I do a free virtual Qigong practice group just so that we can all connect together and do the movements.
Oh, that's very fun. Okay, I will send, I think the message had your email, but I'll let everybody know that there's a 7 p.m. Monday night group if they're
Yep.
interested.
If they're interested, and then all they have to do is reach out to me and then I can send the link.
Perfect. Perfect. Anybody have anything else?
This is wonderful because it's so gentle.
Mm-hmm.
It's something anybody could do. It does. You don't have to have huge range of motion or jump up and down. So this is very, very calming.
Yes, and that's the beauty of it because you actually are moving the muscles too. But it's a very gentle, simple form. It used to be years ago back in China that the masters and the grandmasters, they kept all of this kind of to their vest, very close. They didn't want people to know. And my teacher and healer, he's from China and he studied under 5, I think, different masters, grandmasters. And he went and meditated in a cave for 30 days. And when he came out of that meditation, his message was, you need to make this simple. And so my master Chunyi Lin, who is my teacher, he has a vision, and it is a healer in every home and a world without pain and suffering. Because we are all our own healers. And so, I even look at, there's some things like where Jesus has his hands up. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures like where he'll have his fingers like this.
Yep.
That actually is now think of this was thousands of years before Jesus, but sometimes you'll see that is actually the technique we use to break up energy. It's called sword fingers, and we break up energy and pull it out. And so I'm like, oh wow, I wonder if that was like some of that ancient form of medicine that Jesus used a lot on people too, because I see miracles every day. I've heard of miracles. I've seen people who have had stage 4 cancer who have healed by using Qigong. I've had my own back story, which literally was a very bad back that where I believe I had blown a disc, and I worked with Qigong and I had immediate healing. So I've seen people with multiple sclerosis and people that, like you said, that you don't have to have much range of motion, that actually could not move. And then just by doing it visually in their mind, they started moving. So I'm a nurse by background, and I absolutely believe in the medicine that we have today. I believe that, in my belief, God gave us all these gifts to take forward and really improve upon our lives. But we also don't want to forget that which has been this wisdom from 7,000 years ago, and how do we marry that up? So this is just a good way of doing it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate spending time and doing a little Qigong, because I love doing Qigong, and I can feel your energy even through the airwaves. So that's beautiful.
Thank you. It was
Thank you.
wonderful.
You bet. Nice seeing everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'll send out the recording.
Thank you.
Thank you.